In this day and age, it's seen as aspirational to work for yourself and to own your own business. On social media, that seems to be the modern day rock stars of what's going on. The money and the things, the material possessions, the McLarens. There's no McLarens around here. But these are some of the hardest things I have learned working for myself. And hopefully, knowing these before you do helps you get the jump on what's going on. So, the first thing that I've struggled with incredibly for years is structure and routine. I am someone who craves structure and routine. I crave repetition. I've got a little tiny smidge of the OCD. But then again, most of us entrepreneurs do. We are obsessive. You have to be passionately enthusiastic. But getting that structure and routine locked in was such a big deal. That's changed the way I work. That's changed my level of happiness. That really has transformed how I view running my own business. I've got twin girls aged 3, and I quit my job just when they were born, around the same time. So I've been working for myself now for about 3 years. I've owned the business for 8. So I've done 5 years in employment and then 3 years out of on my own terms. And for the first 12 to 18 months, chaos. In fact, for the last 3 years, it's been chaos. It's only since I got an office recently that things have really picked up. Just that space, that separation. Turns out, working from home, horrible. I hate it. I hate being in the same environment, but trying to change my focus. I can't do it. I don't know if this is another. People think I've never been anyone else, but my brain will not let me switch modes like this. I can't do it. Even in the past, I used to do a bit of gym work and a bit of lifting. There's been times when I've bought weights and I've been like, right, I'll just do some weights at home. I'll do my own gym session. You think, wow, convenient, it's cost effective, no more membership. And then the problem I always have is not the equipment, not even the time. It's just that feeling of, I'm not at the gym. I'm just lifting weights at home. And I always thought that with work. I'm like, no, I'm not at work. I'm just doing some work and I'm at home. That was, turns out, terrible for me as a person. And just such a simple switch of having somewhere else to work is incredible. And you might be thinking, yeah, John, I know that sounds great, but we don't all have the resources to have an external place to work. But that's not as big of a deal as you think. I am very fortunate. I say fortunate, that's a strange way of looking at it. I live in a low cost of living area. It's not the nicest place. It's not. It's fine, and I like it. It's nice. But it's not a fancy place. It's not a posh area. House prices are reasonable. And therefore, office space is not too expensive. It would be if I went to the centre of the town near me. It would, absolutely. But at the same time, I rented an office, and it's not very big. I think it's something like, is it 3 meters by 5 meters or something? It's a reasonable size. It's just like the size of a normal room. And it cost me £112 a month. That's including VAT, that's everything, that's all in. And yes, I got it. And the best description I've got is, it was like being stood inside a tub of vanilla ice cream. The walls were like a smoker's white. And it was mucky and filthy. And the lady was like, yeah, there's no windows on this one, that's why nobody wants it. And I just looked at it and went, this is perfect. This is all I need. I painted it just bright white. The whole thing is just a nice, clean environment now. And that cost me $112 a month. Again, I've just had an email 10 minutes ago about a shared workspace. These are more common than you realise. You start looking for, either search co-working or shared workspace. I just got an email now saying for £125 a month plus VAT, so whatever that is, 145 or something, you can go to this place and have a desk permanently all month. And that's for like 150 quid. And you just think, that is the option. The place that I was looking at didn't have the capacity when I decided to get an office instead. I tried them first. I was like, guys, I'd rather just come and rent a room. That's all I want. I don't need to be getting tenancy agreements. At the time, I didn't know what offices cost. So instead, I just went to them and they're like, here. So getting outside the house, creating a good routine. I find it really hard as well in the morning to get up, get the girls sorted, and then I go home and I sit on the couch and I put YouTube on and I'd think, I'll just put something on while I'm eating my breakfast and doing whatever. That's the worst thing I can do. I end up sat there for I don't know. Depends how motivated I'm feeling. If it's a day where I'm not that fussed or feel like, it can be 2 hours. There's been times when I've been sat watching The Office, it's got to 11 in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? But having that routine of being like, no, I drop the girls off and then I don't go home. I go straight to the office. Same again, the office, it's within a few minutes. Bob around to the office, it's my own space, my own little sanctuary. I can get out the way and then I'm like, right, I'm at work now. What do I need to do? That has transformed so much stuff. Another thing, you will not have time to do everything you want to do. That is impossible. Because if you did, big companies wouldn't hire 500 people because they need 500 outputs of, say, 8 hours a day. The max you can put in realistically is probably 8 hours a day. I'll be honest. And it's easy to say, oh no, there's some entrepreneurs that work for 12 hours a day and all them dickheads online that have 3 work days all squeezed into one. And I'm like, you are a twat. But when it comes for not having time for everything you want, you have to prioritize. You have to learn to prioritize things. You'll have a look at the Murgs social media. We've not put any posts up. And I say we, there's no we at Murgs, it's only me. I have not put any posts up on social media for months. For months. Why? Because the time that I was spending was better being spent crafting ads. There is no team, there is no editors, there is no person out there getting B-roll footage. That's me. So instead of making social media content that will be seen by very few, because we know how Instagram is these days, and I know if you make good content, it goes to good people, but I'm happy running paid ads. Like, if I can run paid ads that convert instead, I'd rather do that because it's more targeted, it's more focused, it goes to the people that it should do. So you won't be able to do everything, and you've just got to drop the lowest performing tasks. In the same way that I'd love to be running ads on every platform. I don't know how ads work on LinkedIn. I don't know enough about ads on TikTok. I'm not an expert. I'm really good at ads on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. I mean, again, the amount of people that flex like they've spent $1 million, they spend $1 million a week. No, I spent about £80,000. And you think, that's like a legit amount of money. It's not millions, it's not hundreds of thousands, but the fact that I spent £80,000 on Facebook ads means I've got £80,000 worth of lessons. That gets you through a lot of universities. You could have maybe a degree off that. And that's it. You've just got to drop the things that matter least. And that's hard as well. Another thing that's really challenging is being the sole decision maker when there's no one else to run things by. If you're a solo founder like me and it's only you, it's really tricky. There are days where I'm sat there and I'm like, I don't know what decision's best. I genuinely wish I could tell the future. We cannot, nobody can. And I wish I could do some sort of projection on this, do some sort of simulation just to see how it was going. But you can't. It doesn't work like that. And that's really tricky. You can get stuck in your own head, toing and froing what's the best thing. And that's really hard. It's really good. The solution to that for me was just to have a few other entrepreneurs in your circle. And people they bang on about networking and this and that like it's some sort of cult or underground thing like the stonemasons off The Simpsons or the stonecutters, I don't know, one of them. And it's not a secret underground club. Having a network is just being friends with people that are doing the same thing. And you're friends with them because of that thing. That's networking, right? Is that not networking 101? I've got a few group chats where I'm in there with a few of the lads. And they're doing their own e-commerce stuff. We're not doing the same thing. There's, what do one lad sells, like, this is really interesting actually. One lad sells puzzle mats. So it's a big mat that you lay out on the floor that you'll do a jigsaw on, and then when you're done, you roll it up. It's like, I didn't even know that was a problem people had. And it's like, yeah. And then there's another lad that sells some sort of scents and perfumes. There's another lad that does things like weightlifting, complete by fluke, complete chance. And it's just a group of guys that all have different perspectives. I could drop something in that chat being like, the people that are shipping my products from China to the UK are doing a terrible job. Any recommendations? And I'll probably get 3 or 4 messages within half an hour being like, I use these. And it's just like, I don't have to go out and start from scratch. No, you get to learn from others. You know, a smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from other people's mistakes. And that's what it's all about. Networking's not only to ask people what you think, it's just to get opinions, to get feedback, to get a different perspective. you know, there's been times when I've signed up with agencies or different people or marketing. There's stuff we've dabbled with in the past. You'll realise we don't do any of that now because it's never proved effective. But at the time I've been like, oh, what do you think to this? And one of the lads were like, oh, that's all right, but make sure this and this, or you can get a better deal than that, or you can push them for that. And it's like, I didn't know to try that. There were one agency that I tried working with, and the price was too expensive. It was like, no, I think they wanted 2,000 a month. And I was like, no. And after a while, I was serious. I wanted to work with them, but I didn't want to spend the money. I didn't want to spend the money more. So I was like, no. And then after 3 months of them chasing me and me saying, no, 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 they came back and they were like, how about instead of 2,000 a month, first month's free, the second month's 1,000, and the third month's 1,000. So instead of 6, I paid 2. And you're like, wow, that's exactly where you need to be. All because someone else were like, no, that's too expensive. Push them. Give them some grief. If they want you and they believe in their service and they believe that you will be a good asset to them and this will work together, they will come to you with some sort of agreement to prove their, compatibility. Sometimes working for yourself, tying into that last point, it's lonely. It really is. And the networking's not only for advice and, I don't even want to say mentorship, but we're all helping each other. But at the same time, it's just there for companionship. There's a few other lads in there and they know how it sucks. They do. They get it. I try to tell other people that are not in business that, it's been a hard day and this is not working and that's not working. People just don't get it. They have no idea. They literally cannot comprehend. It'd be like the same as my wife's grandma telling me how her crochet was hard work this morning because the yarn did a certain thing. And because I've never experienced that, I don't really know enough about it. You can't relate. I can't say, Lindsay, I know how you feel. It's hard, isn't it, when the loops don't loop just how you want them to loop. But when you've got people that get it, they can often just chime in and they're like, yeah, no, it is shit. It does get better. And it's the same with kids. I've really struggled with having twin girls aged 0, 1, 2, and 3. And the amount of times that I've bumped into parents and other mums and this and that, and they're like, oh, it don't get any better. And it's like, oh, this is disheartening. And then as I've progressed and gone through the process and these kids are growing up and it has got better, it's like, you were full of shit. I wish. And now I tell other people, I'm like, it gets better. It actually gets better. In my experience, I thought it weren't going to. People told me it weren't going to, and it did. So that's really important. That's really valuable. Just to be in the loop with others that get it. That is massive. Another point, it's really hard to get used to failure. That's tough. And I'm a big believer that a lot of skills and traits and things like that can be trained. They can. There's more things in your personality that can be trained than you realize. There's a lot of people that get to this age. I mean, I'm 30 now. They get to 20s, 30s, 40s, and they seem to have made their mind up on who they are. But you don't have to make your mind up on who you are. That's not you forever. That's just where you're at now. Of course, you're going to be different when you're older, but it's just not logically planned. In the same way that if you want to train and get bigger muscles, you don't go to the gym, lift some weights and go, I'm not built to have muscles. It's not something that I can do. It's like, no, you don't now because you've not done the training. You've not put the work in. It's true as well to working more. This is a really strange one, but if you want to work more hours and get more done, you have to train your capacity to work more. And you might think, what do you mean train your capacity to work more? You need to get used to it. You need to learn how to work more. And on the surface, that sounds like a strange statement, but you need to know when to eat. You need to know what cues to look for when you're flagging. You need to know what tasks to switch to when your brain's just dropped off a little bit. There's all these different things that are all about learning. It's not about, right, I'm now going to work harder. You don't just flick the switch and work harder. It's not just an active choice. You can't just be like, right, today I'm going to be stronger. No, you're not. No, you're not. You might think you're trying a bit harder, but there's no substance there to back up that extra effort. You can't do it. You don't have the capacity for that yet. And it's true with everything. It's true with failure. I find it hard. I hate it when things don't work. And it bothers me and it gets me down sometimes. And it's like, but I've got to a point now where I accept that that's part of the game. if I'm doing a thing, it depends what it is. But some things, there might be like a 1 in 3 chance it doesn't work. Sometimes things just don't work. And if you know that going in, you can account for it. And yeah, it's really hard being the robot, for this analogy, that also has to update itself. That's really tricky. And there's a reason that gorillas and some primates have not got to the level that we are at as humans, because they don't know what they don't know. And I want you to be more mindful of what you don't know. Be more mindful of you. You are the most important thing in your business. You are numero uno. There is nothing more important. You can have the best product on earth, literally the best. And if you're not doing well yourself, it will not sell. You can sell Rolls Royces for £1. But if you're not doing well, you're not feeling great, you might be depressed, because I've struggled with that a lot through my entrepreneurial journey, is if you're not feeling well and you're not you and you're not putting out the outputs, nobody's going to come in. They're not. Like your website with Rolls Royces for £1, a genuinely serious offer where you're some sort of millionaire trying to give them away. If nobody knows the website exists, they can't come to you to get anything off you. So you are more important than anything else. And that's something as well that to this day, I'm still working on. Even now, I set alarms to drink water at work. And you might be like, that's daft. I'm not magic. I don't have a 4 terabyte memory that just pops up with stuff and it's like, ding, time for some water. Sometimes you get distracted. Sometimes you work from 8 and it gets to 1 p.m. and you've not eaten yet. And you're like, wow, I thought things were getting harder. Yeah, it's because you're starving and you need to eat. So you can change, you can improve, you can evolve. Think of it as an evolution, you know? And the amount of people that say, no, I can't do that, and then put a full stop on it, it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. I watched my kids do it, and Felicity yesterday, a bit out there, gave her an onion bhaji, just a little one. And she put it to her mouth, and then she put it down. She said, I don't like it. I said, you've not even tried it. So she put it to her mouth again, she licked it, and she put it down. She said, no, Daddy, I don't like that. And I'm just thinking, I know you're a 3-year-old, you get different rules. But when people are 40 and they do things like that, like, no, I could never do this. And you're like, wow, you've really just put a box around yourself. You've just said, I can't do this. And it's never going to get done, is it? Literally. And it bothers me. So you can change. You will change. It all starts from having the desire to do so. That's all it is. And that's it. You just got to keep going, keep pushing, keep evolving, keep improving. And you don't have to do it like it's a race. It's not. But at the same time, you either evolve in a way you want to evolve, or you evolve in a way that you don't. You are dynamic and you will change. You know, some people's evolution is gaining weight. Some people get to 40 and then by the time they're 50, they're massively overweight because they're like, well, as you get older, you just put weight on. And it's like, what? No, as you got older, you evolved to be more relaxed about your diet, to care less about your health, to be not as bothered about your looks or appearance. Therefore, you put weight on. There are some people that evolve in a positive sense. Some people that go, do you know what? I feel like shit. I feel horrible. And it's not far from where I am at the minute. I'm not feeling the worst. A few weeks ago were much worse. But I'm trying to evolve in a way that's constructive and positive and improve, trying to learn new things. And I just want to inspire you to do the same. That's all it is. You can be better and you've just got to want to. But the fact that you're watching this right now, if you're watching this bit, 20 minutes in, you are going to win. You're absolutely going to win because you clearly have the desire to be better, to improve, to be more knowledgeable, to be an expert in your field. And as much as you may never feel like you are, the only thing you can compare to is your past self. And that's it. There is always someone smarter. There is always someone faster. There is always someone taller and better and richer and quicker and everything. But you've just got to look at where you were to where you are now. If somebody got into a motorcycle accident and they couldn't walk and a doctor was like, sorry, bud, looks like those legs aren't going to work again. For them to get back to walking is remarkable. That is an incredible feat. But walking is not an incredible feat. If you were new to Earth, you'd come down and you'd be like, why is everyone clapping at that man? He's only walking. When in reality, where he's come from, or she, you know, ladies ride motorbikes too, wherever they've come from makes a big difference. And that person is actually doing a tremendous job of evolving in the way that's productive, rather than declining or going backwards or just getting worse. So yeah, if you're watching this, just be mindful. And I appreciate your time. So if you've watched all the way to the end, leave a like. It's just nice. You know, we're friends now. And if you want to join a little bit of a WhatsApp chat or a entrepreneurs group chat, leave a comment down below, because I'm going to set something up, because I find it really motivating speaking to somebody. I'm not better or different than anyone watching this video. Not at all. We are the same. But from your perspective, and I can only say this because this is how I used to be, I would look up to those that were doing better or doing what I wanted to do. A guy like Alex Hormozy, you look up to it and you're like, wow, he's crushing it. But at the same time, he's just a person. He just started out like we did. We're all the same. And the sooner you realize that we're all the same, regardless of flashy things or money or success, we're all just people doing the same thing. And we're all on the same team. And we're all trying to win together. So yeah, if you're interested in some sort of group chat, WhatsApp, have a talk, I'm excited to hear from you guys. There's probably a lot of you guys out there that can help me in a lot of different areas. I'd like to provide all the knowledge I have to you. So yeah, leave a comment if you want to join a bit of a gang, and we'll sort something out. Anyways, I'm back at work. I'm going to go get cracking. Hopefully you do too. And I'll catch up with you guys in the near future. Adios.